Hello and welcome to this video. We are going to be doing something a little bit different than what we've been doing, but there is a reason why. We are going to be looking at square roots and squared numbers. So square root looks like this. So I might say, oh, the square root of 25, or the squared root of 49. And we're also going to be looking at squared numbers, which is when we have, say, 5 squared, or 3 squared, or even 2 squared. Okay, it's where you have a little 2 up the top right of a number. Okay, so we're going to look at both square roots and squared numbers today. And the reason is we are going to be doing something called the Theorem of Pythagoras. And in that theorem, we will be using squared numbers and square roots. So we need to know how to use both. So you will need a calculator for this. Your calculator on your phone or your laptop, or if you have a tablet, all of those will work. And you might just have to practice with it now. So what I want you to do is I want you to pause the video in a moment, and I want you to go to your calculator, and I want you to find this symbol. So it might look something like this. I'm making it look extra obvious. So it might look something like this, okay? That's the square root symbol. See if you can find that. And what I want you to do when you found it, I want you to figure out how you use it on your phone, because every phone is different. So for example, I know that iPhones, you have to use it a different way than Android. So for example, if I'm using this on my phone, I have an Android. So I press this button, I press this square root button, and then I put in a number. So for example, I might put in the number 9, okay? So I go into my phone, I go into the calculator, I tap this symbol, and then I tap 9, and then I tap equals, all right? And then I tap the equal sign, all right? After tapping 9, I tap the equal sign. And then the answer should be 3. If you've done it correctly, the answer should be 3, okay? Because the square root of 9 is 3. But I know that on my Apple laptop, Apple make iPhone, so it might be a little bit different. And on my Apple laptop, I have to, first of all, I have to put in the number. So I have to, on my laptop, and this might be on an iPhone too, I have to press the number first. Then I press the symbol. This is on Apple, and it might be on your device if you have a different type of Android. I think it all depends. So I press the number, then I press the symbol, and then I press the equal sign, and then I get the answer, okay? So it's really important to figure out which way your calculator works, okay? So maybe pause the video now and see, do you press the square root button before the number or after the number? So you're trying to find the square root of 9, and your answer should be 3. So pause the video now and have a go at that. Okay, hopefully you've figured out what the square root of a number is. Hope you figured out how to use the square root button on your calculator, because as I said, all calculators are different. What I'm going to do now is I am going to write down a few sums here. So for example, the square root of 4, the square root of 16, the square root of 64, the square root of 81, and the square root of 121, and the square root of 169. Okay, and I'm going to write down over here a couple of sums just over here on the right hand side. So I'm going to write 3 squared, 4 squared, 5 squared, 6 squared, 2 squared. What's another one? Just let's even do 7 squared. Let's keep them small numbers. 7 squared. Okay. So squared means that whatever number is squared is going to be multiplied by itself. So, for example, 3 squared means 3 multiplied by 3. Okay? 3 multiplied by 3. That's what 3 squared is. And 3 multiplied by 3 is 9. Okay? So 3 multiplied by 3, that's 3 squared. And that is 9. Now, up here at this sum here, we learned that the square root of 9 is 3. So if we go to the calculator and we want to find the squared root of 9, it gave us 3. So that means that the square root and squared are opposites. So they are opposite actions. So if I want to find out the square root of a number, I am finding out what two numbers that are the same when multiplied give me the number here. So for example, square root of 4. What two numbers multiplied together, the two numbers have to be the same, give me 4? Well, the square root of 4 is 2, because 2 by 2 is 4. So 2 squared is the same as the square root of 4. Okay? The square root of 4 is the same as 2 squared. Sorry. The square root of 4 is the opposite of 2 squared. Apologies. The square root of 4 is the opposite of 2 squared. Okay? And the opposite of the square root of 16 is 4 squared. So they are opposites, okay? So these are opposites, not answers, but opposites. Now, we saw how to use the square root button on our calculator, but I didn't mention how to use the squared button on your calculator. And that's because I don't use the squared button on my calculator. Every calculator is different, and I prefer just to use it the old-fashioned way. So, for example, if I see 10 squared, I don't go into my calculator and press 10 and then the squared button. All I do is I do a little bit more quickly. I go 10 multiplied by 10, because 10 multiplied by 10 is the same as 10 squared. So 10 by 10 is 100. So that's what I do that in my calculator. So if I had a big number, say I had a big number like 50 squared, I would just go into my calculator and I would type in 50 multiplied by 50. And then I press the equal sign. And it doesn't matter what it is, I always just put it in the most simple way. But with squared roots like these, we have to use the symbol. Okay? So I'm going to attach a worksheet to the Google Classroom with a few questions where you have to use your calculator and figure out what the square root of a number is, and also what that number squared is. So you have to do both of these. And on Wednesday, we'll be doing a theorem of Pythagoras where we're going to be using squared roots and squareds. So this is all today just about practicing, using the calculator, making sure we get them right. And if you have any problems, just let me know and I will help you.